Welcome back to the Analog Hour. We are on episode 3 now. We have had a little bit of a hiatus due to sickness. We do everything together, Matt. We even got COVID at the same
Yes,
time, didn't we?
we did.
Yeah. How are you feeling now? Are you feeling all recovered?
About 95%. Often get these kind of feelings like my chest just feels a bit heavy. It's not chest pain or anything. I don't know. I don't feel like 100%. What about you?
I feel 100% now. Yeah, but it did take me a while because I got
Mm,
sick before I got COVID and then I
yeah,
got COVID. So I feel like my immune system was just like, oh my God, this is too much.
yeah,
And obviously having a little one as well, he was
yeah.
fine. So it was quite hard to properly relax with him. So yeah, but no, I'm definitely feeling 100% now. I get a bit low when I'm sick as well. So I had a real kind of like few days after like COVID being like, oh, what's the point of
Mhm.
everything? And, not feeling very motivated.
I
So,
was I was the same. We had a few chats, didn't we?
mm,
Yeah, it also rained the week after we had it.
yes, yeah.
So I couldn't go out and take any photos to cheer myself up. So I was feeling like very much the same, like
Yep.
feeling sorry for myself, self-pity, but
Yes.
snapped out of it.
Yeah, I feel like we're back to our like
We're
normal
back.
selves. We're back. So this is a great way to come back for episode 3.
Yeah,
Yeah.
come out fighting.
Yes, definitely. So what have you been tell me what you've been shooting, Matt?
Well, actually, because we had this 3 or 4 week hiatus or whatever we had, I actually started thinking Lucy Lumen, like, what if one day Lucy abandons me? She gets too big for the analog hour. I'll have to put an ad in the newspaper for a new Lucy Lumen. There's only one Lucy Lumen, but I'll have
That's
to put an ad in
true.
the newspaper or put an ad on, Gumtree or Craigslist or whatever you want to call
For a
it.
new
And so, yeah.
film best friend.
So I thought, what can I add? How can I describe this person? So I came up with a Lucy Lumen starter pack.
Okay.
Okay, so here is my Lucy Lumen starter pack. Now, apologies to everyone watching on YouTube. I've got to put my glasses on. I literally can't see a thing. I can just sort of vaguely see you on the screen there, Lucy. Okay, so the first thing is in the Lucy Lumen starter pack is you need a black bob haircut.
Okay. Yep.
Okay,
That sounds
yep.
like a good place to start.
The second thing is you need retro shades with a thick white rim.
Yes.
Got more than a few of them.
More than a few. Yeah. Quite a few pairs.
The third thing is you need a Nikon L35AF.
Of course.
2 rolls of Ektar because film's expensive these days. That's all you can afford. Um, a bucket full of on-camera flash.
Yes. Love a bit of on camera flash.
Some colourful vintage clothes.
I feel so exposed right now.
Some synthwave background music. A scrunched up face for taking photos.
Oh, yes. I know. How's my photo face? God.
And an infectious laugh. There you go. That's my Lucy
Oh,
Lumen starter pack.
starter pack. Oh, it's
Yeah.
nowhere near as mean as I
Oh, I'm not
as I thought it
mean.
would be.
I'm not mean. There's a couple of digs in there, but
Oh,
no,
I
I'm
love
not.
that.
Yeah.
I'll
So
have to do a Matt Murray one.
oh gosh, what would you put in your Lucy Lumen starter pack? Anything else that you can think of, or?
No, I think I was just saying to Lux, like, oh, it'd be like, Sunny's, like a point and shoot,
Yeah,
a YouTube channel, like stuff
yeah.
like that. So I feel like yours is a lot better than mine. Mine was
Well,
very vague. So yeah.
we've got we have these agricultural fairs in Australia, the Echo and the Royal Easter Show and
Hmm.
that kind of thing. And so you could have like a Lucy Lumen show bag with all of those things in it, and the young kids could be Lucy
They
Lumen.
can put their sunnies on and like a
Yeah.
little fake like
Although
L35 AF.
the show bag would have to cost like $1,000 these
Yeah.
days with the L35 AF. So yeah,
We'll put a pano camera
yes,
in
and just
there.
write L35 AF
Yeah,
on it.
yeah. Draw like
The
the
kids
red
won't
line
know.
on it. Yeah.
Kids won't know. We'll take the blinds out so they can shoot full frame. So yeah,
Oh, that was such a great way to start off episode 3. Some lols.
some lols. And that's all we have time for. We'll
Yeah,
see
that's
you next
it. We'll see you
time.
next time. But no, what have you been shooting? Tell us all, Matt.
What have I been shooting? I've been shooting a few, I think on episode 2, we were talking about I'd just gone through a whole load of roles, sent them down
Yep.
to the lab,
Hmm.
got all the results back. This time I've really struggled to finish off some roles. I felt like the last batch, perhaps some of the shots I hurried a bit. Maybe I was trying to finish the roll off too quickly and some of the shots weren't as good as they
Yeah,
could have
yeah.
been.
Hmm.
So it was a combination of trying to sort of almost not baby the rolls, but just sort of take it a bit slower, film slows me down, to try
Yeah,
and
slows me
get
down, man.
make sure every shot on that roll's a banger. And actually, one night I actually loaded up some Agent Shadow. It arrived
Oh,
just
Matt Murray
after the
Black and
last,
White.
yeah, just after the last episode of Analog Hour had arrived. So I actually loaded some of that up in my Fujifilm Class S, dialed in ISO 1600. So I'm going to get it push two stops by a lab. I'm not sure which lab. I might have to cheat on Ikigai because
Oh,
I might have to send some other film that they don't process to another lab anyway. So I don't know what
okay.
I'm going to do.
Yep, yep.
But I shot about 20 frames that night
Okay,
in one
cool.
night. It was really good. And then since then, I've been sort of shooting a few different cameras, a couple of new ones I'll tell you about, my film camera pickups later on. But yeah, but long story short, I've really struggled to finish off some rolls. What about you?
Yeah, I haven't shot that much because obviously we were sick and then we had all that bad weather. So that was probably the longest I'd gone not shooting since starting the YouTube channel, I
Wow.
think. And I did get really like, I think that that's kind of why I got a little bit down because I
Yeah.
was like, I really need that. Like that's my kind of like, my outlet. So
Film
yeah,
photography is good for the soul
it is good for the soul,
and
good
bad
for
for the
your
wallet.
mental. Oh, so bad for the bank account, but yeah, good for my mental health. So I finally did get to shoot and sent some rolls off to Ikigai. I got the first roll back from my Yashica T4 that I
Yeah.
was talking about in the last episode that was sent to me so kindly by Chris. Yeah, so I just put a roll of Ultramax through it because I just wanted to bash out the 24 shots and get it developed to make sure it was like all working fine. Yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to send it back.
Otherwise, I was going to be like, "Hey, buddy, no." Yeah. So they look good, but when you shoot like a test roll, it's kind of just
Yeah.
you are just sort of like going through it. So
Compromise.
yeah, but like they like amazing, like very sharp, and I can't wait to like use it like more seriously now that I know that it works.
Yeah.
So that, and I have loaded it up actually with some of the Ektachrome. I hope everyone can see that in focus there. That you gave to me, Matt. I'm going to get it cross-processed to enter your X-Pro competition. That is on until, is it the end of August? Until?
End of August. End of August. So we've got 10 entries so far in the X Pro contest. The idea is that you just have to shoot a roll of film and get it cross-processed. Any roll of film from January 2022 until the end of August 2022. And all the details are on mattlovescameras.com.
Awesome. Yeah, definitely. I think it's a really fun competition. I'm excited to see like everyone else's results. I think it'll be really interesting. So I'm feeling pretty wild, to be honest. Putting like that's nearly like it's 2003, so like almost 20 years expired.
Yeah.
In a point and shoot, and I've taken 19 shots, and I took them all at night with the flash.
Nice.
It's because Lucy Lumen flash. So yeah, I'm really excited to see like that combo of things in a roll of film. I think it'll be really exciting.
I've had I bought a brick of that film. I can't remember. I think it was 20 sealed rolls of that film. And I've generally had pretty good results with it. I've always rated it at box speed, ISO 64. It is grainy. It is definitely grainy. There's no getting around that. It's not a typical, it's not, ISO 64 film would usually be pretty good, but age has caught up with it. But other than that, it's pretty good.
Yeah. I'm really super excited. So I shot that, got that in there now. And then Lux has shot his first roll through the Nikon FM2N.
Nice.
Which was something that he purchased because he was
without authorization.
Well, I didn't let him buy it, but I said, you go for it because he it's quite heavy. It's a bit of a workout. Because he was so upset that we didn't get to go to the camera fair, and he was seeing everyone's like videos and purchases and stuff, and he was just like dying. So I was like, please just buy something. Yeah. So he got that. And I believe it's the same camera that the Afghan girl, Stephen Curry.
I believe so, yeah.
Yes. So he's very excited about that. So now he wants the lens.
I've got the lens.
Oh, you've got the lens.
I've got the lens.
He'll be like,
well,
Matt Murray has the lens, so I have to have the lens.
They're not that expensive either. I can't remember how much it was. It might have been it's about $200 US. Maybe it was less. I can't remember. Okay. It wasn't that bad.
That's
So
not too
yeah.
bad. I could maybe
Mm.
approve that.
It's a long lens though. Like it's the only working lens I've got for my FM3A at the moment.
Okay.
And so
Yep.
take the FM. I've got a roll of Portra 160 at the moment in the FM3A. That's another roll I'm trying to finish off. And
Mm-hmm.
you go out for the day to try and you pick up the FM3 and FM3A and you're like, whoa, like 105 mil is kind of telephoto, you know. So
It is. Yes, definitely. Yeah, so he shot a roll of Fuji C200 through that, got some really nice portraits. I did a reel on Instagram if anybody wants to check them out. And he has also followed you with the Cine still, and he's pushed it to 3200
oh wow,
in his Leica R4.
yeah.
So halfway through that roll, the camera actually died when we were out. I know,
No.
like because it's electronic, and
Yeah.
yeah, like everything just stopped working. And I was like, oh, because that was like my present to him. And it's like, you know, I was like, oh, this is so like we're out like at night and it's Cine still 400D. So it's like, you know, that's the only roll we have left.
Yeah.
But then 2 hours later, miraculously, it just started working again. So,
Oh, wow.
so hopefully it stays like that.
So if
I
you
won't
go on
mention it
Marketplace
again.
at the moment, Lucy Lumen's selling
Yeah.
a Leica perfect working condition mint plus.
For now. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So hopefully
1 week warranty.
Yes. Yeah. 24-hour warranty.
I actually sold a beautiful Olympus AF10 Super. I put a couple of rolls through it. It was working great. Lady bought it off me, contacted me a week later, said that she bought it for a birthday present for someone, and the roll wasn't taking the film up. And I was messaging her and like showing her a video. Like I've got another one here, so I was showing her a video, and she was showing me a video, and I'm like, oh, okay. I said, do you want to come down and meet me in Cleveland nearby? And I took a couple of backup cameras, and all of a sudden, like it worked fine for me. It's not working for her. So this is the thing with these cameras is.
So
in the end, I swapped it. Yeah, she swapped it for I had a really nice Pentax zoom camera that would look like it was brand new. And she happily took that for a friend. Her friend come down as well. But it's just a reminder, like, you know, you don't know how much time some of these cameras have got, right?
I know. Yeah. It's that's the thing. Like, yeah, they're very temperamental and you just don't know. There's actually a listener question later on that is very relevant to what we're talking about now and to both of us because we love point and shoots. So but we'll save that for later on in the chat. We've got a lot of good listener interaction coming up later on in the show.
Excellent.
So that wraps up pretty much what I've been shooting. What about you and your purchases since we last spoke,
Well,
Matthew?
let me consult my little list here because I do need notes.
You love a purchase.
So I did go to the Brisbane Camera Fair at Lucy Lumen, and I was there. And the details of this are actually my latest video, which is something, what's it called? 10 items you should take camera hunting or something like that. YouTube.com/Matt Loves Cameras. And I sort of detail what happened. Basically, I got to the fair a little bit early. And like it opened at, it said 10:30, which I thought was weird because I had a stand there last year and it was 10 o'clock last year. And there's like a queue down the block. Got there at 10 o'clock and there's no one there. And I'm like, what's going on? And then I realized it opened up early at 10 o'clock. And I went in and literally with the first table I went to, I recognized a gentleman there because I bought a couple of things off him last year. And the first thing I saw was a tiny little camera. And I thought it was a Sure Shot Sleek at first. No, it's a Ricoh R1. So
Nice
the LCD
one.
is not very good, but for $68 US, it's a great little camera.
Yeah.
And I think I've got 13 shots left, or is it 38 shots left? I don't know because the LCD doesn't work very well. But I got that. And then as I was talking to the gentleman about everything, I suddenly looked down and I saw this name, you know, Yashica on the table, and I was like, oh my gosh. And it was a Yashica T3D for the princely sum of 135 Australian dollars, which is 92 American dollars. And I couldn't believe it. I didn't have a battery.
Yeah.
He had a battery. And I snapped this up. These go for, you know, $400 US quite often.
Yeah.
So
that's really good.
I was made up. And I now have, not to brag Lucy Lumen, but I now have the Kyocera T3 double. I've got the Yashica T3 and the Contax T3.
You do.
So I got the double. You know, my life is complete. What can I say?
I'm glad that the camera fair could make your life complete.
Oh, and I've got a couple other things arrived that I've been waiting for. So the Agent Shadow I've already showed you.
Yep.
Pingo!
Oh, look at
Pingo penguin camera. And,
you know,
so
cute. Wind it up.
That's the sound of quality right there. So I'll be putting a roll through Pingo. He probably I might wait till later in the year when it gets a bit light. It's pretty bright, I suppose, at the moment. I'll
It
see what
has been
happens.
really
Yeah.
nice, like blue skies, like
Yep.
sunny, very Ectar,
Bit
like
cold. Bit
bit
windy.
cold though. Yeah. Oh, the
Yeah.
wind today was just, oh, it was freezing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there you go. What have
Yeah,
you bought?
okay. That's a good haul. I was sad to not be at the camera fair, but not for the cameras, more from the social aspect. It was funny
Yeah.
because like I was really bummed out because of that. And Lux was just bummed out because he was like, I just want the cameras. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I wanted to see this person and see this person. And I really wanted to meet Naomi,
Yes. Oh,
Silver
is she there?
Saltress. Yeah, she
Oh, I
was
didn't
there.
know.
Yeah. I'm not sure how long she was there for, but
Yeah.
and Nathan, because I haven't actually met Nathan.
I wasn't sure that Nathan went, actually. Maybe he did.
Oh,
I
maybe
don't
he
know.
didn't. I can't remember now because he said he was going to bring his daughter, and I was like, oh, that'd be really
Okay.
cool. And
Yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
sure if he did actually end up going, but yeah, I was bummed out to not be there, but I'm glad I got to live vicariously through you
Yeah.
with your purchases. So that was good. So
Now,
and
when
we
you, sorry, I to interrupt, but when you said Lux just then, I just remembered I got something else new. I've got the Lux Junior
Lux
flash from
Junior,
Godox. Lux Junior.
little Luca,
Yeah, aka
Luca
Luca.
Junior.
So Lux, I've got this I'm going to play around with my digital and my film cameras. So that's
Oh,
going to be
cool.
a bundle of fun as well. Look out for a review coming soon.
Yeah, I was going to say you're going to review that because you used a Godox flash that day that we met. And you took some pictures of me. Yeah.
I've got a few Godox flashes. I've got the AD 200, the AD 400, they're really big ones. And then I've got the 685 and I've now got the Lux Junior. So the good flashes, and I'll do a review of that. So yeah.
Definitely. Awesome. Yeah, so purchases wise, we've still managed to accumulate a few things, which seems to happen every month. So Lux got the Nikon FM2N, and then he also got the other day for $50, which is pretty good, this Canon Canonet QL17,
Nice.
which
Wow.
is the same camera that Hashem used to shoot all the photos in his Zine.
Yeah.
Which if anyone's seen, like has a copy, it's beautiful. I think it's still available. It's amazing. I'll link it below. But yeah, it's very quiet shutter, so perfect for street photography.
Yep.
It is a rangefinder, which I have told everybody I am not a fan of, so I probably won't be using it. But we have the QL25, I think it is, and that's a lot bigger, a lot chunkier.
Yeah.
So this is kind of the same. We were looking before, and it's kind of the same size as the Olympus Trip. It's just a lot heavier. So yeah, pretty cool little camera. And then also and a lot more excitingly for me, we bought a Fuji sorry, excuse me, a Fuji Instax wide.
Nice.
Which I am like super in love with.
Yeah.
I've never used I think I've had friends that have had like, like when I was really young, like, Fuji like Instax cameras and use them and been like, oh, cool. But I've always been a Polaroid person. But it's so expensive. I don't really shoot it that much. But this is like amazing. Like I think my hit rate was a lot better with these, like a lot more consistent, because with Polaroid, it's always a bit sort of, for me anyway, and I do hear this from other people, like, yeah, like sometimes it'll be great, and then other times I'll just get like 3 or 4 shots that just aren't, hitting exposure, or like there'll be a streak on it or something's gone wrong. So I'm feeling a lot more confident with this, and yeah, just I love the wide as well. Like I think that's really, really cool, and the film is a lot cheaper. So yeah,
film is a lot cheaper. I have heard I'm in a couple of like Instax and Polaroid groups, and people were saying in North America and Europe that some people were reporting there was an Instax wide shortage. They just couldn't get much Instax wide.
Oh, really? And
I think it's supply chain issues in getting the film to places and stuff. But yeah, Instax wide is really cool.
Yeah, I'm like I'm converted. I did put something on my story the other day, and I had a few people like, yeah, like Team Fuji, and then other people were like crying, like, no, because they love Polaroid. It does tend to kind of go that way. But
what do you think? What do you think the difference is in size between a Polaroid and an Instax wide?
The size?
Yeah.
You put them together. Now that I don't know.
They're almost exactly the same size.
Yeah, I wouldn't think it would be much different.
It's just, it throws you because of the aspect ratio being a rectangle. You think, oh, they're different sizes, but you put them together and they're almost exactly the same size. You've just got, the only thing that annoys me about the wide is, the white strip along the bottom. It feels like you've always got I've always got to shoot in horizontal, like what do you call it, mode,
rather than in
mode.
Portrait, because you've got that. I know what you mean.
Polaroid's a bit more, shooting for squares a bit more easier, isn't it? But I do love a bit of Instax wide. I got a bundle of them here, so
Yeah, yeah, I'm really loving it. And I think we got it for like
Lucy's loving
30.
it.
I'm loving it. Yeah. $30 I think it was on eBay. So
$30.
yeah, I think because Lux was lowballing
Yeah.
on eBay for things and seeing who would sort of buy it. So yeah, so pretty good deal. So I'm happy with that. And I think that's pretty much it in what we've bought. So
Nice.
we can move on to a little bit of catching up on content, like what you have put out in case anybody's missed it, or what you have in the pipeline, Matthew.
Well, the big news is, and you reminded me a second ago when you were talking about Hashim and his zine, is the big news. What I've been doing just before I got COVID, and then I had a hiatus for about a week and didn't touch anything. But these zines arrived from my first community collab project of the year. So this is the second fantastic zine. Some really fantastic images in there, all taken with cheap pano cameras. So there's 42 people who took part in this. Some really wonderful, like the amount of the
Awesome
photos in this zine. You know, there's only one of mine in there, so I'm not being. It's like it's my zine. These are taken by 42 different people in the community, and the quality of images taken on cheap plastic pano cameras that people would not even buy for $2. A lot of people would pass up. The quality is just amazing. So well done to everyone. I have one of these left for sale at mattlovescameras.com. All the rest of the other 50 have sold out. And then I also I was selling like a bonus zine because I sort of calculated the weight, and I thought, right, there's a bit more weight in there. I'll sell some bonus zines.
Yeah.
So I did this little zine up of 10 images of Polaroids that I've taken in the beautiful seaside suburb of Wynnum here in Brisbane.
Yeah. And can I just say, Matt, those Polaroids are amazing. Like, so good. When I was flipping through, I was it was really nice to see them just all together, like just Polaroids, because I feel like Polaroids when you post them online, I don't know, it never really, like, you know, it doesn't you know, fully do them justice. So
and some people post them with the border and some people post them without the border, and it's always, there's no sort of standard convention, but I always leave the border on there. And what I also tried to do was some of the scans weren't great, some of the scans weren't quite exact, like some of the borders aren't quite as big as other borders, but I tried to make the Polaroids in this zine actual size of real Polaroids. So, you know, like you didn't want to make them that big, like a postage stamp, you know, I wanted to make them exact, and they're almost exactly the same size as Polaroids. So that's been great. I've got all of them out now. About, I think 48 have gone out. So I've got one more order that's come in yesterday, and I've got one more to sell. So it's been very successful.
Congratulations. So good. You are king of zines. At least to me anyway, because I have zero zines. And I love the community, the community ones. I was just going to say quickly, what sort of draws you to, I've just gone into podcast mode here, like asking you a question. What draws you to like a community zine project over like putting out your own zines?
I think it's just the feedback from people that they really enjoy it. So that's actually the fourth one I've run. So the first one was the first Pantastic. Then we did Sprocktastic, which was about exposing sprockets on 35mm film. Then we did Purple Grain, the Purple Grain one, about shooting Lomochrome purple. And then this one's the fourth one, which is Pantastic 2, which is a really, surprisingly, it's really, really popular. You wouldn't think that a lot of people are interested in those focus-free plastic pano cameras, but it seems to be a great leveler. You know, a lot of people have them and they're happy to shoot with them. What draws me to do them, I guess, just the feedback from the people saying how much they enjoy it. And you know, I really enjoy the judging episodes. So Matthew Joseph is a regular judge on the Pantastic, and Matthew Joseph will be joining me to judge the X Pro one as well.
Awesome.
So I do really enjoy it. It is a lot of work. I'm not trying to be like Saint Matthew here, but it is a lot of work. But when you get like this week, I think the first batch that went out before I had COVID, there was 15 or 16 that went out, and they were all international ones. And I think in one day I had 6 or 7 people in the United States say post on their stories that they got theirs, and that is just such a nice feeling that they got them all.
So nice.
So,
yeah, definitely. Oh, congratulations! I think it's so great, and it's so nice. This was the first time I've seen my work in a zine. So it was really cool to, like, you know, you look through and you're looking at everyone's, but like, you know, you do look for yours because you're like, oh, mine's in there. And yeah, really, really exciting. And it makes you feel part of there's my Ektar shot. Yeah. So, yeah, really cool. And I know it's a lot of time and effort that you put in. So thank you.
And it's the time and effort isn't so bad. It's the worry, because the first zine I ever did was my own zine every summer, and I made a typo in there, and my wife didn't pick it up. As soon as I showed it to my mum picked it up straight away.
Oh,
It
mum.
wasn't even a type. It was a typo. It wasn't a. I think I put an extra and where there shouldn't have been an and, so it didn't. It sounded weird.
Yeah.
I was devastated. So a lot of, like, probably the last 2 hours I put into this was double checking everything. I spelt someone's surname wrong. Luckily, I picked
Yeah.
that up.
Yeah.
But you're just paranoid. Like, what if I produce the zine and I forget someone's photo, or I get their name wrong, or I get their Instagram? So there's a lot of the work is cross-checking everything with a community one, because
Definitely.
you don't want them to buy it and take part and you get their name wrong, you know. So
Totally. I think it's that responsibility. I think
absolutely.
I've said this before on the podcast, and I think I've said it to you as well. Like, I worry so much more with the podcast. Even though like kind of the stakes are lower, like, you know, as in it's just audio, you know, lots of reasons, but
Yeah.
you know, my audience isn't as big on the podcast as it is on YouTube, but with YouTube, it's just me. So like,
Yeah.
if I mess up or someone doesn't agree with
It's on
me, or
you.
I say things, it's just on me. It's like, it's on Lucy Lumen.
Yeah.
I'll wear it. But when it's someone else, you know, it's like, I have to do them justice, or I try to as much as I can. So I always get more worried about that than anything else. So I think that shows you're a good person though. So we're just, you know, we're such good people.
We're so good.
And that's it. See you next time. No. So awesome. And what else is happening with you content wise? Matt, you put out a new video.
Yeah,
yesterday.
so for about a week I didn't do anything, which was really annoying. I actually shot some B-roll at the Brisbane Camera Fair, and I sort of had the idea of writing. When I went to the Brisbane Camera Fair, it's a very long story, but I explain it all in my latest video. But basically, I wasn't prepared. I took some batteries with me, like I took some CR123A and a couple other ones, but I really didn't have other batteries. For example, I didn't have a battery for the Sheikah T3 because it takes some weird battery. And I come away, I didn't have enough money with me. And I come away thinking, you've had a year to prepare for this. You've actually had 13 months because it was delayed a month. And I wasn't prepared, right? So I come away with this list of 10 things. And then I've done a video about that, 10 things that you need, 10 items you should have when camera hunting.
Awesome. Yeah.
And it's actually, I actually thought I make this mistake every time, and I tell Lucy Lumen this. I think it'll be like 6 or 7 minutes tops. It's like, I think it's actually my longest video at 20 minutes. So good for the old YouTube watch hours. But right at the end, no one's mentioned this yet. I wonder if people are clicking off, but right at the end, there's a special cameo from Marshall Dalmatian, the Matt Loves Cameras pooch.
Oh, love a bit of Marshall.
Yeah, love a bit of Marshall, a bit of black and white spottiness. So, so I did that. I've written a couple of articles for F-Stoppers, which is good. What else? I did a new podcast, episode 62 of Matt Loves Cameras podcasts.
Amazing.
And that's about it.
Yeah. Well, that's a lot. That's a lot for one
post-COVID
person to be, who's had COVID, like got a family, got a full-time job, got a dog, like that's a lot. So well done. Lots of content for people to consume. So definitely head over and check that out. I haven't watched your new video yet because I've been quite busy, but we will probably be watching it tonight, and I can't wait to see Marshall.
As a way to fall asleep.
The 20 minutes of Matt Murray.
We need sleeping pills.
No, I know what you mean with the long videos. Like I think we've managed to get them down a little bit, but my latest video was like 25 minutes or something, really long, but it didn't feel like it was that long because I was just talking, and it's because I was talking about cameras. So you say one thing, then you got another thing, and then you pull out another camera, and that leads you to another camera. And you know, but I think people like that. So but yeah, I put that out, and it was sort of a beginner, like my take on what would be a good beginner film camera. I did still have COVID when I filmed that because I am that dedicated. So I'm not my usual peppy Lucy Lumen self in that. And I watched it back and I was like, wow, like I didn't sort of realize.
I think I told you that, didn't I?
Yeah.
And it wasn't a criticism. I just said you seemed a bit like down.
Not as definitely. Yeah. I just really wanted to like do something because we'd just been in, and you know, I had the energy for that, but it just wasn't my usual energy level.
The same with my last podcast I did. I listened back to the intro and I'm like, oh my gosh, I sound terrible.
No,
so
you sound beautiful, Matt. And so other than that, I've been writing for F-Stoppers. I've got a few articles. I'm really loving.
It's gone ape.
It's gone ape.
Bananas.
Yes. It's gone totally bananas. It's just, I know, it's crazy. It's funny what people like, gravitate towards, but I think it's because it's more broad. It's just quotes quotes that I picked out that I think can change your kind of mindset towards photography.
Not from cat posters.
Oh. I did write back to that person, and then
Someone
they got back to
commented
me
on the article. I saw that. Someone commented on the article. They sounded like cat poster quotes.
Yeah, he was like
He was okay about it,
inspirational.
though. He wasn't too bad.
He wasn't too bad. No, I'm a lot more sensitive with my writing than I am in videos. Like a lot of the time in videos, I say stuff and I'm always wrong about like cameras or something like that. And Lux will even say behind the camera. And I'm like, you know what? I'm at the point where I don't care anymore. Like leave it in because that's me. But I think with the writing thing, I'm a bit more self-conscious because like I didn't finish school and like all these other things. But it's totally not that cat poster person's fault. Like he's got no idea. He's just you know, so anyway, water under the bridge if you're if he happens to be listening. So yeah, put those out. And then I also interviewed the co-founders of Darkroom Tech. The place where I sell my prints. So I interviewed them, which I was really stoked to interview somebody, you know, like that, because I've never done that before. So I was quite nervous, but they're really lovely. Like I've been chatting with them for a few months now and they always get back to my emails and they're really helpful and you know, they give me advice and they're just really great. So they shared like some exciting new things that are coming for their website. It'll be, it should be out in like a couple of weeks. I think they're just like fixing a few things. So there'll be lots of different, different options for like ordering and like the layout of it and everything. And the experience should be a lot better. So excited for that. And then they offered tips on how to sell more prints.
Nice.
On your, like if you're wanting to kind of, you know, boost your sales or things you can do. So that should be out in the next few weeks, but that was really good. It was an experience too, trying to interview two people because normally, do you know what I mean? Because you ask a question and then both people look and they're like, who's answering?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, I'll have to remember that for next time to like maybe prompt each person so there's not that awkward.
Yeah, it's usually like when I've had Jeff and Gabe from My Dreamer Cameras on my podcast, had them on twice. Usually they would, because they've got a good working relationship, they would say, Gabe, do you want to take this one? Jeff would say that, or the other way around.
Yeah.
And the other thing was when I had the middle of last winter, I had a podcast called Matt's Love Cameras, and there was 4 of us Matts. We're all called Matthew or Matt. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So in that, when they didn't know it, like they knew each other, but they didn't have a working relationship, I would say, you know, Matt Jones, what do you think of this? Let's start with you. So. But it's interesting because, what you were saying, but you would think that if they work together, they might, I don't know. What am I saying?
Yeah. I mean, they were pretty good, but I'm always trying to think of like, you know, reflect and I was like, oh, I think like next time I'd be a lot more aware of that because I just hadn't really thought about it. So, that's it. I've batch filmed 2 videos the other day and that definitely helps. I don't know if you've been doing that, but batch filming, batch creating kind of content really, really helps. So I've got 2 videos that should be, you know, out over the next few weeks. So that gives me a bit of time to do like other stuff like the podcast or writing or, you know, just, I
have the idea to batch record videos because I usually do it in a weekend when everyone's out for some reason. I've got an hour, but I never I film on my iPhone, and so usually by the time I finish one video, it's down to 20% or something. So it hasn't come off yet, but one day I'll be organized enough to do that.
It takes a while, I think, to get there. We didn't do it for ages, but it's definitely helps out for sure.
Do you change outfit when you do that?
I do, and that's one of my favorite parts, Matthew Murray, changing into another colorful vintage outfit and
a different color, different pair of shades.
And Lux is like, hurry up. I do that. So I think that's pretty much it for the first segment of us catching up on everything. But I wanted to reveal the winner of last episode's playlist. So we picked, you picked Lomachrome Purple as the film stock, and we each curated like a playlist of 4 songs that an EP, that's right, an EP. I'm sorry. Of what we I know I'm the vinyl lover over here. So we made an EP, and it was, you know, the songs that embodied that film stock for us. And they were quite different, I think, our approaches. So Lucy's playlist came in at 68% and Matt's came in at 32%. With a total of 34 votes from our
That's
audience.
Not bad, because if you weight that, because this went out on your channel, right? They're your fans. So if you weight that accordingly, I think that's a victory for me. For
Yeah.
sure. That's a victory
Well
for
done,
me.
Matt. Well done. Well done.
No, well done. I think that was good. I think everyone preferred your ear bleeders over my
Yeah,
soothing
my
sounds.
lo-fi e-bleeders. Yeah. No, but I think it's really interesting. It's such a cool thing. I really encourage like other people to do it as well. Cause like
Mm.
it's a really cool way to like, you know, sonically kind of express the film stock. I just think it's really cool. So it was my turn. So I chose my favorite Kodak Ektar.
What a surprise.
What a surprise to the audience. So we each made an EP. So you go through yours first, Matt, because it's got some bangers on it.
It's got some bangers, some bussin' bangers. So I've called my playlist, it's a public playlist called Matt Loves Ektar. So if you go into Spotify and put Matt Loves Ektar, you'll probably see it. The cover art is a picture that I took down at my local little beach of a red boat. I love that red boat. The red boat disappeared about 2 years ago. I don't know what happened to it.
Oh no.
So the first song, and I had a problem with this song because I feel like the only place to put this song on a playlist is the first song, is "Take Me Out" by Franz Ferdinand.
Banger.
Absolute
that whole
banger.
album,
Classic.
That whole album is amazing. So good. I remember when it came out, just so cool. And that song is just, total banger.
The second one is from a little bit further down Britain, in Leeds. We've got the Ruby by the Kaiser Chiefs.
Yep, it's another banger.
Ruby.
Yep. I've seen them live.
Oh wow!
Yeah, at
awesome.
A festival. Yep, I have
so
vague recollection.
Another guitar-based banger. The third one is one that some people may not know. I've actually, what happened was about 2 or 3 years ago, I heard this song on the radio, or I heard it somewhere, and I hadn't. You know, sometimes when you hear a song and instantly takes you back 20, well, not 20 years for you, Lucy, you'd be like 3. But for me, it was really weird. I heard this song on the radio, and I was actually overcome by like nostalgia and this melancholy feeling of,
wow, yeah,
I used to be young. Like, so this is a song called, it's called "Stone Me Into the Groove" by Atomic Swing. It used to be very big on the Triple J back in the 90s. And yeah, it was just a moment of, I haven't heard this song for years. And it's not that well known a song, but again, it's a great guitar song, great vocals, great guitar solo. So there's 3 great guitar bangers there. And then to round it off, you know, thinking about Ektar and color, I came up with "She's a Rainbow" by the Rolling Stones.
Which is so apt. Like that's so perfect for Ektar, definitely.
And Lucy's first song is "Rainbow Connection" by Kermit the Frog. Maybe not.
No, it's definitely not. Can I ask you a little bit more about your playlist, Matt? So what do, they're all really great songs, and "She's a Rainbow" for sure. And I can kind of see like, or hear, feel, whatever, you know, through the whole thing, like Ektar, but in your own words, like what drew you to these songs for Kodak Ektar?
To me, like, you know, 100-speed film with bright colors, saturation, contrast. To me, that's like bright and brash, and to me, that's like guitar sort of sounds.
Yeah.
And it's the kind of thing that you're either going to love it or hate it, depending on the conditions. So, for example, if you're, you know, I don't know, if you're in a sad mood, do you necessarily, I don't know, if you're in this mood or that mood, do you really want to listen to really heavy sort of guitar, you know, bangers? Maybe not. Maybe you want to listen to something a bit more soothing or a bit more. So it's kind of like, it doesn't suit every single situation. Same as Ektar, but however, when you're in that mood, it's an absolute bangers, you know?
Yeah.
So that's how I felt, like very loud, you know, but colorful, kind of
and
great melodies, and
yeah, I love it. Yeah, that's how I feel as well. Very similar. And I just love hearing that. Like, it's so much more interesting to me than like the latitude of Kodak Ektar or any other film. You know what I mean? Like, it's just so much more creative. I love it.
I am available for music podcast as well.
Available for all your music.
We'll have a special U2 special for 3 hours.
I was actually listening to some interviews with Brian Eno on Tuesday, because I had the day to myself, and I was thinking of you because they kept the person that was interviewing Eno kept bringing up like all of the things that he'd produced for like U2 and like all this stuff, and I was like, oh, it's like, so I feel like I just like had blocked that out until like you mentioned it, and then now it's like I'm hearing it like all the time. So really interesting. So my playlist, for me, Kodak Ektar is, like you say, it's like my favorite film. It's bright and colorful and really summery. And like I said, like, you know, blue skies and like a clear blue sky. I'm always like, I just want to shoot Ektar, like 100 ISO. We live on the Gold Coast, so we like have really good weather for that. So for me, it's like, yeah, summer, and it does kind of have a bit of a like an LA feel for me. I think because when I was in LA, it was like I was there in summer, and like, yeah, the weather was very similar to here, and it looked very similar to the Gold Coast, like the palm trees, and you know, like it's sort of very reminiscent of the Gold Coast. It's just a lot bigger and there's a lot more going on.
One important difference I've heard, the water temperature in California apparently is really quite cold, even in summer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's really the water temperature.
Okay. Compared to here, I didn't do any.
It's like a bath here.
Yeah,
like a warm bath.
Like a practicing your broad Australian accent
practicing
there,
the Aussie accent.
Our overseas listeners will love that if they're not getting enough from me, because when I listen back to myself, I'm like, oh my God, I sound so Australian, especially when I'm like talking to, you know, like Mike Gutterman or someone like that who's like sounds really like sounds really American, you know. Anyway, so back to my playlist. So I picked, the first song is by Best Coast, and they are,
that was a good song. I like that.
Yeah, did you like that song? That's one of my favorite albums. I have a tattoo of Best Coast. They're one of my favorite bands, and that whole album is like super summery. Like it's just like sun drenched and fun, and like, yeah, it's to me, it's like, if I could put my headphones on, listen to that, and go shoot a roll of Ektar, that would be like my happy place. So When the Sun Don't Shine. So that's the first song, and then the second song is the Beach Boys.
Yep. Good
Vibrations. I'm a huge Beach Boys fan, massive Beach Boys fan, and they're, for me, very similar to the first, similar to the first band, but the first band's like obviously more contemporary, but yeah, really evoking that like LA kind of summery feel. And then the third song is by another.
It's about the Beach Boys. I always thought Good Vibrations was on Pet Sounds, but it wasn't, was it?
No, it wasn't on Pet Sounds. No. Pet Sounds is probably my favorite album, I think. And I did look through Pet Sounds and think of picking one of the songs from there, but they're actually kind of a little bit like Beach Boys have that, they're happy, but then they've got this sort of underlying like kind of melancholy to them, especially when you know more about Brian Wilson's like story, and you know more about like him and his struggles. So I didn't go with those.
Pet Sounds is the album that inspired Sgt. Pepper's, because Paul McCartney picked it up, and the Beatles listened to it, and they said, well, we've got to do something better than this now.
Yeah. So, yes. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think they were inspired by each other a lot, and kind of trying to top each other, and then creating all these like amazing things. So I'm glad that happened. So next up is Jacuzzi Boys, who are, I think they're another LA band. They're something I used to listen to a lot, like when I was in my early 20s. And yeah, this song just has like, yeah, that real carefree, summery, bright sort of like vibe. And then the fourth song is not as happy. It's by Elliott Smith, and anybody listening or watching who knows Elliott Smith, he's definitely not a happy guy. But the song's called LA, and when I think of LA, I just think of Ektar, and like I can't wait to get back there and shoot some Ektar, and like in summer, and just capture like, yeah, the palm trees and the blue skies, and like, you know, yellows and blues and like all that stuff. So yeah, that's my vibe generally for Ektar, and it's pretty much just my happy, like Ektar is my happy place, I think.
Excellent. Very good.
Yeah. So yeah, and I'll link them below, and then people can go and vote over on the community tab again.
I've got a community tab now.
Or maybe we should do it on your community tab, Matt. Well, then. So it's more fair this time.
Well, I don't know. Does it matter?
I don't know. We'll figure it out. We'll
figure
it out.
More people see it from yours.
Behind the scenes.
More people see it.
I guess so, and then they can vote, and then we'll get.
I did run a poll, as you know, Miss Lumen.
I did. I voted.
My first community poll. A bit of a sidetrack, listeners. Sorry.
No, go for it.
I was very excited to get my community tab, and I run a poll, which I've just sold quite a few cameras, including one of my Contax G1s. And I said, I'm flush with cash, my birthday's coming up in August, which one of these should I treat myself to? The Nikon 35 Ti, the Ricoh GR1V, Minolta TC1, or the Fuji TR2? So really, for me, the first two, the Nikon 35 Ti and the Ricoh GR1V, are the ones I'm really thinking about. The Minolta maybe a little bit, but there's some issues with the Minolta. The Fuji Tiara, not so much. I think it's a little bit overpriced.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all expensive these days.
Yeah.
The GR1V and the TC1 were going great guns, but all of a sudden, as more and more votes have rolled in, it's 41 votes now, the Nikon 35 Ti has pulled ahead. So
100%. But
you know what?
I'd love to own that camera.
I've been thinking about buying it, and I've got a few in my eBay list. There's actually, it looks like there's an absolute ton of these in Japan, and they're all about, $700 to $800 which, and I've actually got the money now to buy it. But I don't know. Lucy Lumen, I feel like lately, like I've hesitated. Like, even though I've got the money, I'm like, do I want to spend it? Like, and in the past, I've thrown caution to the wind and just bought stuff. But I don't know. The risk, interest rates are going up, mortgage repayments are going up, and I feel like, should I be more responsible? I don't know.
Yes, definitely. I feel you. And I think that we have kind of been in the same boat as well. I think everyone, like, worldwide is, is tightening their belts on things for sure that they don't need. And I also think that
film is something we all need.
Yes. Well, that's the thing. Like, that's what I think. I've filmed a video on my ways to help you save money shooting film, and they're not like bulk loading or home developing, because I'm not doing either of those things.
Me neither.
And there's a lot of those out there already, and they are great ways to save money, but they're just not my ways. So I thought I'd offer people
sucking the rem jet off cinema film. Is that one of your ways to save money?
Yeah, no, I'm not doing any of those home DIY things. So these are a bit out of the box. So that'll be out soon. But one of the points
Digicam's going to mention.
They do.
I knew that. I knew that.
Of course, Lucy Lumen. I feel like that could be part of the starter pack. So I think that one of the points I make in that is that, saving money for film and developing, because it's not, people like outlay a lot of money on digital cameras, but that's where your, outgoing stop. Whereas with film, it's just ongoing, and you've got to buy the film, and then you buy the film, and then you shoot it all, and then you got to get it developed. So you got to think about that. I think that this could be a good moment for, I'm just trying to find it. Just bear with me. A question from Dave. He is one of my patrons. How you going, Dave? Dave-o.
Dave. You met Dave. As Ali G would say.
Yep. So he said, one question for you guys on the analog hour. Film cameras are getting older, along with the techs to repair them. When you add in lack of parts availability, how do you two feel about your point and shoots? Prices climb on these cameras that are unrepairable, and thus the risk of use increases daily. Do you think there's a point approaching at which you will have to transition your point and shoot use to a more repairable manual camera like an FM2N or an FM3A or equivalent? It's really scaring me here, Dave.
It is a really interesting debate, and one that I've heard a few times. And many people, hang on, sorry, I'm about to cough. Sorry.
That's okay. A lot of coughing going on.
Sorry, the post-COVID sort of things. I just get like frogs in my throat all the time now. Sorry.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah, so this is kind of said a lot by people, and I'm not dismissing the argument. I understand what they're saying, and it's true. Like that Olympus AF10, like. I bought that camera. It seemed like it was working. I flipped it, made a little bit of money on it, and then I kind of lost money on it because when the lady took it, it wasn't working like it was working for me. So I'm in a bit of a hole for that camera, unfortunately. So I completely get it. I guess the issue to me is that there's a couple of things. First of all, we could get hit by a bus tomorrow. Hopefully not, Lisa Lumen.
I hope not.
So, hopefully not. So get out there and enjoy your cameras. Yeah, they're going to die one day, but we're all going to die one day as well, so get out there, have fun and shoot them, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is a lot of people who shoot manual cameras, and a lot of them are lovely people like Andre Dominguez from Negative Positive, and he will wax lyrically for literally hours about how, I like a repairable camera, a camera that I can repair because I know it can be mechanical. I've listened to Andre talk extensively on that subject on the Anchor Clubhouse app, and also on NegPause.
Yeah.
And
I've heard Lux Lumen say this as well.
Oh, yeah.
He loves this too. Yeah, I should get him and Andre in touch together, so they can. Yeah,
absolutely. Old man talk, right? But the thing is this. who's going to repair all these cameras? Like I was actually listening to the film photography podcast the other day. I haven't listened for a while, and I really love that podcast. I really like Leslie Lazenby. She's the star of that show. I love her insights and all the information she gives on that podcast. But they were talking about the latest episode of FPP. They were talking about what cameras are hot and what's not. So they were talking about medium format. They said 6.7 is really hot medium format. 645 not so much.
Yep.
They said almost everything in 35mm is hot.
Yep.
And then they were talking about Hasselblads, and I think I was actually I was working on an article or something, and so I didn't quite catch it. I had to rewind it. But I think what they were saying was Hasselblads haven't gone up that much. But if you want a Hasselblad repaired in the States, that is a long wait.
Yeah.
And the problem, let's buy a Hasselblad, let's buy a Leica, because we can always get them repaired. Sure, but who's going to repair them? A lot of the people who repair these cameras are, a lot older than us, probably
also dying.
Your age together. Yeah, they're dying. They're dying. And, unless there's more people coming through, and there are more young people coming through learning camera repair, nothing like the amount of camera repairers there were in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. There's just not the numbers. So buy a Leica, buy a Hasselblad, you can get it repaired. It might be a 3-year wait in the future to get it repaired.
Yeah.
It might cost you $1,000.
And then you're without the camera to use. And then me and you are like busy shooting.
We're using our point and shoots.
The point and shoots we have that haven't died. So, who's winning here, Davo?
Yeah. But I think it is good to hedge your bets, I've got some expensive cameras here that if they died, I'd be heartbroken. But then I've got other cheaper ones that I also use. And, if they died, you could probably go out and buy another one for a couple $100, if that. So
for sure. I think what you say as per is very insightful, Matt. You always think about everything in the very like big macro picture like that. So well done. I think the only thing I'll add is I personally, like I know I own like the L35, and I know that that's expensive now. And,
horrendous.
Now it is, it's really ridiculous. Like I can't believe it. But like, I love that camera obviously, but like, I don't know if I would buy it for that price now, especially knowing all the things that go wrong with it. Like I have like so many that don't work, or like, they've got a lot of quirks, but I'm like you say, like I have lots of cheap point and shoots that I'm really happy with, and it suits how I shoot. So I'm happy with the sure shot telly, or, like heaps of my Canon ones, or, like an SBO, like I'm happy with those. So, and if they break, like I know I can get another one for not too much more, and I'm happy to pay that. What I'm not happy with, or what I wouldn't be happy with, is spending like, like $800, $900, $1,000, and then it breaks and there's no way of repairing it, and I don't have the money to like, outlay on that again. Then I would look at, the person with the Spotmatic or something like that and think, oh, maybe I should have gone down that road. But, as long as you're not spending too much on the point and shoot, or you're spending what to you isn't too much, because that's different to everybody. Like,
I mean, it's if you take it back to the digital photography analogy, like I bought the XT1 when the Fuji XT1, then I bought the XT2, then I bought the XT3, and I've got XT4 here now. But if you think about the amount of money from purchase to what I sold it for, and if you think about the equivalence of buying a premium compact, dying, and having to buy another one, it's not a lot of difference if you think about it. The amount of money from depreciation that you lose on digital cameras, if you're into digital cameras, versus a film camera dying and having to buy another one, it's not a lot in it, unless a camera goes up like exponentially. Like I remember Matthew Joseph sent me a message today and said it was he said happy anniversary, and I was like, oh, what anniversary? Because my wife and I have our anniversary in February, so I'm thinking, is he looking someone else up on Facebook that and he's like, no, I was in Brisbane we met 3 years ago today. And I was like, oh, that's cool. And I remember 3 years ago today when we did meet, we were talking about X-Pan, because he put it around my neck, famous sort of story. He put the X-Pan around my neck. I just started wearing glasses. I wasn't as blind back then. And I looked down and it looked like the strap wasn't on properly. And we were in the Goma in Brisbane, the gallery one night. And I said to him, we got to the top of the escalator and I said, is the strap on the camera properly? Because I couldn't quite see because I had the glasses on and whatever. And he was like, oh, and he actually hadn't put the camera was about to smash on the
Oh
floor.
my God.
But luckily he caught it, put it back on and sort of, welded it to my neck.
Uh,
But when I was talking to him about this, I said, what would happen if, you ever did, break your X-Pan or whatever, or someone else broke it. And he sort of said, I think he said at the time, oh, I'm looking at getting a fund for getting another one. I've been saving up to get a fund to get another one if anything ever happens to this one. And I think that's, and I don't know if, that's, he's still doing that because the X-Pan even 3 years ago was a lot cheaper than it is now. But it's interesting to have a backup strategy. Well, if this does happen, this is what I'll do, I'll sell my digital gear, I'll do this, I'll sell all the other cameras and I'll buy another one.
Yes.
It's always good to think ahead, right?
Definitely. And I think you'll only ever know if you would buy the camera again when you don't have it. And it leaves if it leaves like a gap or a hole there, and you think, oh, I need that, or I miss that
shaped hole in your heart.
Yes. Brilliant way to end that answer. I hope that answered your question, Dave. And thank you. It was a really good question.
Me met Dev.
Yes, Dave. So we've got a few questions here from Instagram. So this one, I don't have my glasses on, so I'm squinting to read this. Lily Halpin has asked a few different questions. Yes. Hello, Lily. Thank you for your questions. She said, you might have to answer this, Matt. You might have to answer some of these because some of them are a little bit technical. Where can I buy a flash accessory for my Canon T50? I don't think I know that camera. Do you, Matthew?
The Canon C50, yeah, it's an ugly 80s camera. Sorry, Lily, if you particularly love your T50. I believe it's a kind of an ugly camera. It is one of those 80s cameras that isn't as particularly attractive as perhaps as others.
Okay.
A flash access. I don't know much about them. However, I do know that here is my little prop for this episode. The Godox Lux Junior. This episode is sponsored by Godox. This is actually a cool little flash. They're about I think they're $100 in Australia here, and I think they're like $69 US. But it actually comes, there is like a single pin there, but you can actually, if you've got a camera where you can plug this in, so you just like put it in. I can't remember what the terms are, Lucy Lemon, but you plug this bit in here. Okay. I'm actually doing this off camera. I couldn't work out why no one could see it. So you plug that in there, and then you plug that into your little thing in your camera. Okay. And it fires the flash.
Fires the flash for you. Okay.
So you could either try and find a vintage Canon flash that would work with the T50. Yeah. I don't know what they are, sadly. Or you could just buy a brand new flash like this with a little cord. And they work really well.
Which might be more reliable, but
yeah, and probably cheaper.
Yeah, probably worthwhile keeping an eye on Marketplace, and I don't know where you are, Lily, but yeah, Craigslist or something like that as well, to see, because you might pick up one really cheap. But yeah, cool. So Lily's also asked, what's your favorite black and white film? Mine is 100% hands down Cine Still BWXX. That is my favorite black and white film stock. Don't even have to think about it. What about you, Matthew?
That's a good question. I don't shoot a lot of black and white film, as you know. I've actually got quite a bit in the fridge. I bought up some rolls of Acros 100, the original Acros in 35mm before that went out forever. And that was before Acros 2 was announced. So we didn't even know Acros 2 was coming. So I've got about 5 rolls of Acros 100. And I do like the look of that. I guess though, really, I shot some rolls a couple of years ago now of HP5, Ilford HP5, and they were beautiful shots. I shot it in my Mu One, my Olympus stylus camera, the Mu One, and they turned out fantastic. And I actually saw these shots a couple of years ago and thought, my gosh, I'm going to shoot a lot more black and white film from now on. And do you know what I did, Lucy Lumen?
You didn't do that.
I didn't.
You just kept shooting.
But I will one day.
Oh dear. I say that every time as well. And then 6 months later, I'll do an episode where I shoot black and white, and then not again for 6 months. So.
Well, I'm shooting the Agent Shadow at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm really looking forward to that.
Yes. So, I've written a little short, well, not a little, it's actually quite a long short story for Stephen that got a bit wild. I had COVID while I wrote it, and I've sent it to one person to read, and they said, wow, what a wild story. So I'm not sure if Stephen wants to publish it or not. I haven't heard from him. He said he's very busy, so it could be that.
Maybe it would be more at home in the Playboy's readers letters if they still. I don't know if that magazine's even still around, is it? But if
Yeah, I
it's
think
kind
that's
of
kind
wild,
of a bit of a
Readers' Confessions.
Reader's confession. It's just, yeah, I don't know if it was like the COVID fever or the like it just
Yeah.
I just was writing and then it just went to this weird place, which I think it's a cool story. But yeah, just when you said Cosmo Photo, it reminded me of that.
Yeah.
But I will be getting some Agent Shadow in the mail as well soon. So I'm excited to shoot it. I love the logo and I love the box.
It's very nicely done.
Very cool. Yeah. Okay, so Miss Molly Kate, friend
Molly
of
Kate.
both our channels, love Molly. Molly's just started writing for 35
Yes.
MMC as well.
She has, and she wrote a very nice article about Fantastic Zine, which was lovely. So thank you, Molly.
Yeah. Molly's writing's really good. She has asked, what do you guys think of the Granary app? Which I think she recently did an article on, actually.
She did. Yeah, she did. I've kind of, there's two, isn't there? There's Granary. What's the other one that's going around at the moment?
There's New Grain.
Yeah. I sort of looked at both and thought they looked cool and thought, I don't know. I don't know. It's always, to me, a reluctance to get into a new app.
Yeah.
I tried out Clubhouse, that audio one.
Yeah.
And I got sick of that pretty quickly. Look, I hope that one of these succeeds. There seems to be a lot of people, like I'm in a lot of big digital photography groups and, of portrait shooters and wedding shooters. And I've seen in there quite often lately, people are saying, what are people doing about Instagram? Because it's ridiculous these days. It's just about their reels.
Yeah.
It's not about photos anymore. It's a completely inefficient way for me to show my work off. So, I hope that out of this, one of these apps will do really well. At the moment, it's kind of, I can't be bothered to join one of them. I have the intention to, and they look great, but I just can't be bothered at the moment.
Yeah, I kind of echo like how you feel, really, Matt. And I think we've touched on this before, but yeah, I just don't have the time to invest in it.
Yeah.
I did go on Granary to have a look, and I love the way it's set out. I don't love that you, I think a lot of people love this, but I don't love it, that you have to put like in order to post a photo, you have to put like what camera and what lens you use.
Yeah.
I don't like that, because that
how does that work for point and shoot?
I think that's what I was thinking straight away. I think you just put the camera and then like the point and shoot and then like NA or something for the lens. I can't remember. Yeah. But I was like, I just don't really, I don't care, like care about that. I'm more just about the photos, but I know a lot of people like that. So I guess,
See, Lomography, I really like Lomography. Like I put a link to Lomography, my Lomography site, in all of my YouTube videos and on my podcast as well. I really like that because that is more about the photo. You can put as much information about the camera and the film or as little. You just call the album whatever you want to call the album, and you post the photos. You don't have to say anything about that stuff, and people will put, hashtag Kodak XR or whatever. But I don't know. It's always struck me as weird that the Lomography site isn't bigger, maybe, or maybe they didn't ever get an app, or I don't know.
Yeah, I think if they had an app, it probably would help for sure, because I always forget about it. Like right now, I'm like, why don't I like start one of them? But then I'm like,
it's really handy because quite often people will say, I'd love to see some sample images taken with this camera. Or people have been DMing me lately. Like someone DM'd me and said, have you used the Canon AF35mm? It's the one you used when we met last year.
Yep.
And I just sent him a link to my Lomography album. I said, there you go. There's a couple of albums there. So it's a really, instead of trying to link them to individual Instagram photos, it's really handy. I mean, and of course that sort of comes from Flickr and their albums. Flickr was once king of all this.
Yes,
but I haven't really got back into Flickr, to be honest.
Yeah, I think that's what we're trying to get back.
Yeah,
like, that's what I have sort of like ascertained from everybody, that like that's what they want, but Flickr's dead, so they're trying to emulate it, but also bring it, make it more contemporary and whatever. So yeah, I'm happy that Granary exists, and I think it looks great, and I think the guy's name's Kyle, I'm pretty sure. Like, huge congratulations to him, and then the New Grain guy as well. I think it's definitely like they've done the perfect thing. They've responded to like a pain point of a community and given them like something that's very needed. So I
might actually go back and look at them both. I feel bad now. I haven't had a look more. I guess it's just you wonder if these things are going to take off or not, or
I think Granary will, from what I've seen. I think they've got, I saw something today, they've had over like 4,000 profiles or something like that. I think there's a limit to what you can post on Granary for a free account, I think.
Right.
And then there's like a paid subscription which is fair enough because it's ad free. So, you know, like Glass is ad free and you pay a subscription. You know what I mean? Like that's the other thing that I do find, like, you know, like
is a payment as well.
Yeah. So like people sometimes complain about, you know, ads and stuff like that, but obviously like you have to kind of choose, you know, it's like,
I guess the thing is that if it was a well-established product that had been around and you knew what you were getting, a lot of people wouldn't mind paying. I think when it's a newer product, people balk at that a little bit more.
that's
But I
true.
mean, it's interesting, like, you know, what, even on Facebook now, and I know you don't use Facebook, Lucy Lumen, but when I go through Facebook and you see all these reels all the time, and then one morning we're in bed, I think we woke up and Sarah was tired and I was just looking through my phone, like silently looking through, and most of my stuff's camera stuff, but I accidentally clicked on the reel in my Facebook app and it was really loud, and like
Yeah. Oh my
Sarah
God.
like
It's
almost
so
hit the ceiling.
obnoxious.
I don't understand it. Like I don't understand it. You know, is TikTok's obviously a massive threat to them, but
Yeah. Well, apparently, we'll say this and then we'll get off this topic. But Lux and I were just looking before, and I think like the head of Instagram or whoever he is has released a video in response to the Kardashians saying that they don't like the way Instagram is right
oh
now with
wow.
its, yeah. So that's all I know. I didn't have time to look into it fully, but the Kardashians aren't happy, and the iconic duo Lucy Lumen and Matt Murray are also not happy. So maybe
Are
something
we the
will.
iconic duo or the dynamic duo?
I think we're both.
Yeah,
We're
yeah,
iconic and dynamic.
yeah.
So yeah, but definitely huge congratulations to both of the people that are, like, you know, doing those
Yeah.
apps. I think it's really cool. I just feel mine literally is just a time thing. Like I just don't have time. I had a few people like exit like my Patreon recently, and I just wanted to ask them kind of like, you know, hey, obviously, you know, the way the world is right now, like fully understand that 'cause it's not necessary, but I like to ask people like, was there something that you were like hoping for, or was it not what you expected, or something like that?
Yeah.
Kind of like a bit of an exit survey, like when you leave a job. And most people are like, I honestly just don't get time to like you post, and I don't even get time to like look at it or
Yeah.
dive into it. Totally get that. Like I have so many things like that in my life that
Yeah.
I want to, but it's like I just don't have time. And I'm
Yeah.
like that with other people's Patreons as well, actually.
I've always said that I've only really got room in my life, and I'm someone who spends a lot of time on my phone and my computer. I really only have time for 2 social networks at a time. So I was posting stuff to TikTok a while ago. As soon as I started making YouTube videos, I haven't posted a single TikTok.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
just don't feel like I've got time. So I'm on Instagram a little bit, mostly to message people, to be honest.
Yep.
I'm on
Same.
Facebook for groups and stuff. I like seeing all the groups posting groups and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on Twitter maybe an hour a week, and I post stuff on there and reply to people and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And then I go on TikTok now and again, and I haven't just to watch stuff. I don't have time. Do you remember like when we did a podcast about 6-8 months ago? I talked about those Domestika courses, those courses.
Yes. Yeah. Yep.
So I'm not sure if I told you this, but I took out like a 1-year subscription. It wasn't that much. It was like about $100 or something, and you get a course credit every month.
Mm-hmm.
And you just buy a course. You can just use the course credits for whatever courses you want. I thought that sounds like a great deal.
Does
I'm
sound like a great deal. Yeah.
I did that in January. I haven't watched a single course. I've got about 6. I must have 6 or 7 course credits by now. I've got library books here that I always get overdue notices for. I have good intentions of sitting down. I'm going to read these magazines, you know, and library books. I always take them back.
I know time is like the enemy. It's just, it's the one, like that's my one answer to every question of like, or problem, you know, it's literally time. So yes. Okay. Analog Townie, Travis in Florida, who had a beautiful photo in Pensacola. I loved his photo in Fantastic. So nice. He sent me actually that like nearly that whole roll when he got it developed, and like the colors look so good.
Nice.
He said, can you list things more important to making good images that are not the camera, lens, or film stock? Which I think is a really cool question. Mine would probably be composition.
So hang on, sorry, say it again. Not the camera, the lens, or the film stock.
So yeah, things that are important when you're making good images, but not camera, lens, or film. So he's trying to get away from the gear, I suppose. Yeah. I would say like color and like composition, like looking at things compositionally, maybe like from like a new angle. Like
Yep.
it sounds really simple, but like, you know, like getting down like
Get
low.
down dirty. Get down low and go, go,
The
go.
the PG show, Matt.
That's right.
No, yeah, like getting down like low can really
Viewpoint.
like like a different like viewpoint can really help, and not looking at everything kind of like straight on or having everything in like the middle of the frame. Like getting really close up and making things look a little bit more abstract. Like I really love a photo when I'm like, oh, what is that? Like I have to look again to be like, oh, what is it? And then I realize it's actually just, I don't know, like a close up of like the side of the wall or something, and it's the texture, and it's just totally like obscured what it's actually a photo of. So I think things like that are really important to me in making good images, I suppose. And they're not to do with, you know, I mean, obviously your gear will, I've found lately, I've sort of been trying different cameras, and I noticed that my style is impacted by that, you know, like not having a zoom. I'm like, oh, that style is so much easier when I've got a zoom lens, or you know, stuff like that. But I think that's good in itself, because then you can make that work for you differently, or you can discover something new. So yeah, those things to me, like camera and lens, definitely at the bottom of the list for me for kind of making good images. I think film stock, I do love film stock because it's more like the accessory, and I love like, that's the thing that I would think about like more out of those things. But what about you, Matt?
The light.
Yeah, that's a huge one. It's a huge obvious one. Oh my God. Lucy Lumen.
So the light, I will only ever go out. Well, not only ever, but I like to go out, you know, I went out this afternoon, actually. I was filling in a photographic frame of mind. And I went down to my local little beach about 5 o'clock, and I've been down there a million times. Actually, we went down near where we were. You remember when we saw the old man who gave us the
paddle pop? Yeah.
So I went past his house, and then I went to the beach, and then went to the other little beach, and it was low tide, and I just walked out on the muddy sand, and you know, I was like, I've taken photos of these boats a million times. I just took some just because sometimes it's good just to take a photo, even though you've taken it before, and you know what you're going to get. Yeah, just get one in the bag. So I probably took 6 or 8 photos on about 4 different cameras. What's the whole point of this? Oh, it's the light. Now, if I'd gone down at 1 p.m., it would have been totally bright. It would have been squinting. It would have been horrible. But it was the light, you know, this late afternoon light and the shadow that really made it. And it really didn't matter too much what camera I was using. I think if you took the results from a really expensive camera and a not so expensive camera, they'd be very similar. The only thing you could probably discern would be is if you used like a premium point and shoot or an SLR, would be, you know, depth of field. If I shot this at f2, whereas a point and shoot, a cheaper point and shoot, you wouldn't be able to
You're not going to get that.
But
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Awesome. I think they're really, really good tips to get you out of the gear centric way of thinking. I have a question here from the lovely Melissa Foxfins.
Oh yeah.
On Instagram. Love her photography so much. She said, how do you stay motivated, or what motivates you? Do you want to take this one first, Matt, or?
Sure.
Okay, go for it. What motivates you? Gets you up in the morning?
I was thinking about this one. I did this personality quiz a few years ago with one of my employers, and we had to go to meet this lady, and she took me in this room, and she had this printout of all my personality. And one of the things she said to me, you're a collector. You like to collect things.
Well, she's which damn is weird right.
Because what, huh?
I think she's right. Like,
well, like junk. I collect junk in the background, but I don't collect like, okay, I've got the Contax T3, and I've got the T3 Special Edition, and I've got the T3 70 years, and the T3.
Yes.
Like I'm not that kind of collector.
But
I do like to collect things, and with photography, I have noticed recently I like to collect images of a subject. So you might know that I like to collect images of hills hoists, the washing lines. One of them has been demolished recently. Another one, I found another one the other day in Cleveland. When I went to the camera fair, the first thing I shot with my little R1, I saw a hills hoist in the backyard. Yeah, and I went through the long grass in this house. It was like an abandoned house almost, and the grass was about I don't know, a foot and a half high, like 60 centimeters high.
Yeah.
And I was walking through to take a picture of the hills hoist, and there was something moved through the grass. It was either a rat or a snake. I don't know what it was. But yeah, that's how I feel. I feel like I like to collect images of hills hoists, or I collect images of this old Graham's auto tire garage place. I've taken loads of pictures of that.
Yep.
Or I like to collect images of local, like this scene here. Like this is a postcard I did for Fantastic.
Yeah,
This
so
is taken in
nice.
Cleveland, and I like to collect like images that look like travel images, but they're just of my local suburb.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what, to me, it's about. I go out, and when I see a hills hoist, I'm so happy. It's absurd. Like, why would you be happy if you see a washing line? But that's, to me, what keeps me
Yep.
going. I like to collect things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay. It's a really interesting answer. And yeah, it's a very astute observation about yourself, Matt. I think for me, I think what motivates me is kind of because I was very unmotivated with my photography before I started like having any kind of output. And I think for me, I'm quite I don't know what the word is. It's not vain, but I really need, like, I'm no
You're
good.
so
So vain.
vain.
Oh, great song. Carly Simon.
Probably thought this podcast was about you.
I think
Oh,
you've totally thrown me with
I just
your
remembered.
singing here.
I remembered a controversial item I was going to put in the Lucy Lumen starter pack. But anyway, we keep going.
Okay, finish this and then you can tell me.
Okay.
So I think for me, like I'm no good on my own. Like, even when I'm on my own during the day, like I end up voice messaging you, because like I need to talk to people and I need to like get my ideas out and I need to like connect with people or bounce off people or do something like this to keep me motivated. And I'm lucky because I have Lux and he, likes everything I like. So I can constantly do that to him all the time. Poor thing. But so for me, I think it's like the community aspect and getting the feedback that I'm getting, doing the YouTube channel and the podcast and like the sort of conversations that like leads to with people as well, or finding out that they also really like Brian Eno or something like that, that really motivates me, or hearing that something I've done has inspired them. And I think a lot of artists kind of have that, like they say that, like that's what keeps them going, or knowing, like I've always wanted to like make a mark on something or like leave something. And I feel like I now have like, I've learned these new skills and I have this like body of work, not just in photography, but in like, my YouTube channel or the podcast, being able to like interview people or like writing articles. Like I just did an interview piece for F Stoppers that'll be out soon. And I've never done anything like that before. And it was really challenging. So those are the things that keep me motivating. And it's not sort of, I suppose it's not directly related to photography, but it makes me want to go out and take photos because I want something else that I can show to everyone and share with everyone. So that's what keeps me motivated for sure.
And even back to what you were saying then, like to me, collecting things. A zine is a collection of images around a subject or a topic or a place.
Totally. Yeah.
So that's the thing. I am collecting images as I go, and the output, that will be the output. And I don't think I'm even halfway through the Hills Hoist kind of project, really. I don't think I've got enough good images. I've got some good images, but I don't think I've got anywhere near like 20 or anything. No, nowhere near that amount. But, like, it's like with when I was shooting 400D at ISO 1600, I've now got a collection of images at night that I really like. And I'm thinking about doing a zine about them. So it is, I definitely think about things in terms of collections of things. And that's what keeps me going.
Yeah, super interesting. And definitely like your zines, like the community ones, like they're definitely collections. Like you've got the purple zine and the, like everything's in its box and like this is a collection of these images. And yeah, that's really cool. You had a really good question. I don't know if you have it handy though from somebody.
Casey.
It was a really awesome
Casey
question.
Hall.
And it is relevant because we're talking about zines. So
Casey Hall, who is the Junk Book Journal on Instagram. Matt, we all know you've done your fair share of zines. Can you give a brief overview of your process in regards to laying it out? I've noticed a lot of people print all their photos and lay them out for a more tangible experience, or do you keep it all on the computer? So do you know what he means there? Some people will literally print them all and then just So I'll finish this off. Blah, blah, blah. Hi, Lucy. Thanks for the constant content and motivation. I'm sure the content you're producing is enough to keep one extremely busy, but do you have any big projects planned for the future? Example, book, zine, photo shoots, etc. Thanks, Casey. Thank you, Casey.
Thank you. It's a great question.
So yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Let's do yours bit first.
Okay, yes. So I do thank you for saying that. That's very motivating to me to hear that. I think for me, I am working on a zine now. I started collecting some of the images together on the computer today. So I am eagerly awaiting Matthew's answer, because I feel extremely overwhelmed by the whole process. And I've seen people on YouTube do the pictures all over the floor, or they print them out and then they like tack them to the wall and they're rearranging them to see what would look good next to each other. And I feel like I probably would respond better to that kind of process, because like I like to actually, you know, like move things around and touch things rather than it being on a screen. It doesn't really feel real. But like I'm sort of, really daunted by the process, and then by like creating it in like InDesign or whatever it is. I know you've got some good, you've got a podcast episode, and on your website, there's a good thing that I read months and months ago about the different options for zines, which is a really good resource for people looking to make a zine. We'll link it below. But yeah, I've got, I'm going to do sort of like a greatest hits of like the last year of my photography, because I was putting a lot of pressure on myself to do like a zine that was a new project, you know, like you're saying with the Hills Hoist one. And you know, like, okay, I need to figure out what it is, and then I need to commit to it, and then I need to go out and do it, and then that'll be my zine. And I feel like if I keep doing that, it's just not going to happen. And I think I'm also doing that so I don't have to do it. Like, it's, you know, so I can procrastinate, because I'm like, oh, well, I haven't come up with the idea yet. But I'm like, well, I have all this photography just there, you know, from all my YouTube videos and my photo walks. So like, why can't I just put that, you know, when you make rules up and you're like, well, there's no rules, like I can just do that. So that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm working on as a bigger project. And I'm also trying to release a website at the moment, which is just, like,
did you catch a website and you want to release it?
I wish I could catch a website that was like already done, the LucyLumen.com. I'm just struggling to like find the time to get it done and all of that. So that's another like I would class big project at the moment. But other than that, I don't have anything else huge in the works other than just creating YouTube videos, keeping the quality up, and then like staying motivated with the podcast and all of that. I can see you in the background there grabbing your every summer, which is such a good zine. So cool. It's more like a book.
Yeah, people have said that it's more like a book than a zine. It's quite thick and quite heavy. The first run of this I did, like, there's a weight. So when you get a zine from me, if you're international, you probably get it in this envelope, like a white envelope, and it's got a pre-printed stamp on, and they cost $10 to send, and you can get up to 250 grams of weight in there, which is about 10 ounces in the old money. And the first one of this I did, the first print run, it was so much like a book. It was too heavy for the envelope. So I ordered 25, and I was like, I couldn't send them overseas. So I had to do another, I had to initially do another, almost straight away, I do another print run and make the paper lighter, because it was just so, Anyway, so this is my first zine every summer. I'm about to do my second zine. It's been in the works. I actually shot all the photos around the same time as this one. I've just been procrastinating and haven't had much motivation to do another solo zine, but I will. But when I was doing this, I actually laid out, it was kind of funny, like sometimes with the Hills Hoist project, like I've been shooting the Hills Hoist for about 6 months now. I've been shooting night photos for over 14, 15 months, and I don't feel like I'm finished with those projects yet. With this, we were on the Isle of Wight 6 days, and I shot about 7 rolls of film, and that's it. That's what I got, because I'm not going back to the Isle of Wight anytime soon.
For
but
sure.
I felt like there were images that told a story, and I had funny little stories in there. And so what I did was I printed out, of those 7 rolls of film, what's that? It's over 200 images. I must have printed out 100 photos that I had shortlisted. And I printed them all out on, like pieces of, like just inkjet sort of prints. And I cut them all out and I laid them out on the floor. And you know what? It was horrendous. I had pieces of paper everywhere.
Really?
I couldn't think. I couldn't, like, I had pieces of, I couldn't visualize it.
Made you feel really scattered? Like,
it was just too much. There was way too much paper on the floor. And then you do it for an hour, and then someone wants to watch TV, and they're like, Dad, you're in the way. Why have you got crap all over the floor for? And then you got to pack it all away. And then if you want to rethink it again, you got to get it back out.
Yeah.
But what I found then was I was just, there's a couple of different ways I did it, but I created a collection in Lightroom, dragged all the photos, the shortlisted ones in there. I went through and rated them individually, sorted them by ratings, or I might have 2 very similar photos and I'd look at them both in Lightroom. Okay, this one looks better for that reason. And so that's how I sort of culled down I exported them all from Lightroom as high res, images, 300 DPI or whatever.
Yep.
And then I just started dragging them into pages, one per page, or mostly one per page in InDesign, 40 odd pages in InDesign I did, and just dragged them onto pages. Now, the really good thing in InDesign, and I'll cover this when I do a video about it, but you can actually then move the pages around. So if there's two images and you think, oh, they don't work very well together, you literally just grab the page and move it up somewhere else, and all the pages will switch around.
Oh, wow.
And
okay.
to me, that was, you can have the pages that big on the screen, and you can actually visualize how it's all going to look. So to me, doing it electronically was way better than a piece of paper. Now, for other people, pieces of paper on the floor or pieces of paper on the wall work way better for them. And I thought that would work for me, but it just didn't.
Yeah, that's really interesting, because I just assumed that would work better, especially for us, because we're like film photographers and we're tangible, and but I think maybe also you've got to think about your environment and your setting, and the people I've seen do that style, like Willem Verbeek, he had them all on the wall.
Yeah.
And I think maybe Hashem had them printed as well, were people who, like
don't have kids.
Don't have kids.
Imagine Luca with all those pieces of paper on the wall. You're like drawing crayon all over them.
Oh my God. Yeah, he's just started drawing. So he's like keeps going to the wall, and we're renting. I'm like, don't you do that? Yeah. But yeah, so I think like for me, it would probably be kind of similar. Like I come into this like studio, like this office, and that's my like, I can close the door and but there's not enough wall space here to do that. So maybe it could turn out to be feeling the same way you do.
How have you collected the photos? Like, how have you organized them so far?
All I've done today was I sat down and I went through like photos on the computer that aren't organized that well to begin with. And I was like, okay, I really like that. I'm just going to grab whatever I'm like, I really like that image.
Do you use Lightroom?
And just put, just use Lightroom and then just put it into like Zine folder. Yeah. Like that's all I've done so far. So very minimal.
What I do is I can walk you through how to set up, like I know you've got InDesign as well. I could tell you how I set up a Zine template. And what I would do next is literally just drag them in. And it doesn't have to be the final version. It could just be your muck around version. Yep. And that way you'll get a feeling for it and how you want it to flow. And
okay. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And I think you should definitely do, I think you are going to do a video on this topic because
I think I'm going to do two. I think I'm going to do one about choices for Zine, how to get it printed. Do you order them all to your house and put them in envelopes?
Send them out. Yep.
Have an online service where people can order them? There's pros and cons for both. So I want to do one episode very similar to the podcast I did a year or so ago. I'll do one video about that, and then I think I'm going to do a video where actually I'll do a reel like in less than an hour. I will do a complete zine, probably like half an hour. I'll do a complete zine. I'll have the photos chosen and I'll show you how I lay it out and do it.
I think that'd be really I think that'd be really helpful for people. Definitely. And I think it's good to have lots of different processes out there. And a lot of people seem to do like, the pictures on the floor. It kind of feels more romantic doing it like that too. You know what I mean? Like I feel like I would, if I do it, I'll be doing it for like the wrong reasons. I'll be doing it because I want to be the person that's like, standing back and like looking at my work, and you know what I mean? Like it's so
I think
silly.
Unless you have a lot of space.
Yeah.
I don't know. It
doesn't
really
work.
I thought it would work for me and it really didn't work at all. Yeah. So.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Well, I hope that's answered your question, Casey. Is it Casey?
Yep, Casey.
Yes. And definitely looking forward to your videos, but I will link the podcast and the article as well that you wrote, because you talk about like, because there's all the logistics. It doesn't end there. You've got to think about printing and the paper and how much it's going to cost, and you don't want to be
weigh, like that is a big thing.
Like where are you sending it? And for us in Australia, like most of our audience is overseas, so that's something I'm definitely considering as well. So I want it to be like affordable for people, but I don't want to be in like a deficit as well. So there's just so many things to think about. You're
looking at it's $7 just for the postage. It's which is quite cheap, like, because if Australia Post ever withdraw that envelope that I use, I think I wouldn't be able to send them overseas anymore. It would be too expensive. So that envelope is a bit of a godsend at the moment for us.
Definitely. All right. I think we've got time for one more listener question, and then we're going to move on to like a funny little kind of rounding off the episode. Whoa. So this question is from C.A. Nicola. I think he's in New York. I've spoken to him before. He's lovely. He said film stock that surprisingly looks great when pushed.
Ah, come on, 400D.
I knew you were going to say that, Matt.
Well, I've only ever really pushed 400D and Lomography 800 and Portrait 800. They're the only three I've pushed. But I mean, 400D, I was blown away with
it looks so
the
good.
colors, the lack of grain.
Yeah. Oh yeah, amazing. Yeah, and that video is awesome. I haven't really pushed very much. Because like in the past I wouldn't have probably, like thought to do it.
You can sing it. Is that Push It Real Good, or have I sung the wrong song?
I don't know. Is that
Push It Real Good?
No. You are right. Yes, I had like another song going in my head at the same time. Yeah, I haven't really. I've pushed Cine Still, BWXX, because it feels more like the thing to do to push a black and white film. And I loved that. I pushed it to 800, I think. So, and I really liked that. Yeah.
You might remember a year ago, I was ridiculed by the Sunny 16, two of the Sunny 16 hosts for pushing color film. Do you remember that?
Oh my God. Yes.
Do you remember that?
Yes, I do. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. No, I think that like there's plenty of films that look good pushed. And I think there was a video, Caleb from Bad Flashes, he pushed Ectar.
Oh yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's really interesting, but I can't now remember what the results were like. I think there was maybe like color shifts or something like that, but I remember thinking like, oh, that does look cool. And I thought, sounds like something I would do. So I think I need to experiment more in that.
Absolutely.
In that realm. But yeah, thank you so much for all of the listener questions. We haven't been able to get through all of them, but next time we will definitely take more. It's really fun to hear from the audience. So we've got a fun little, you explain this, Matt, because it was your idea and it's come from TikTok, has it?
Well, yeah, there's a lot of memes out at the moment. So one of the memes is, and a lot of people, that when the police service in Australia, one of the Queensland Police, or when the Queensland Education Department, when they're doing a meme that it's crossed over into the mainstream, right? Because I've seen this meme everywhere. And so the meme is this: you say that he's a 10 or she's a 10, but they do something really annoying or really stupid or really funny, right? And so the idea is that they might be a 10, but they've let themselves down because they've done this thing.
Yep.
So the original one that I posted on my on my Instagram was, she's a 10, but she shoots Color Plus.
Color Plus.
Red flag, Color Plus, red flag.
Okay.
What's your one?
I have one. He's a 10, but he talks about / uses depth of field preview, because
very good.
That's something that I just find extremely boring. So
yeah. Excellent. Okay, I've got two more. My next one is, she's a 10, but she shoots 120mm film.
Oh, the poor #120mm people. Yeah. And I've said that in a video. So I've
no. These are all about you, Lucy Lumen.
I said, yeah, I shoot Color Plus. I said all these film faux pas. Yep. Okay, I have one. He's a 10, but reps not editing his film photos. Because
very good.
That's just also really annoying. And
good. I had to think what you meant by reps for a second, but I understand.
I was trying to find a way to word that.
That's your young person speak.
Yeah, yes. Yeah. My slang.
Have you got any more? I got one more. Have you got any more?
I've got one more. You or do you want me to go?
You go first.
Okay, all right. He's a 10, but he's not Lux Lumen.
Yes, exactly. Very good.
Okay, hit me with yours.
No, I didn't really tell you about this, but the opposite thing is, you say they're a low number, but something else.
Oh, okay.
So my last one, she's a 4, but her dad owns a film lab.
Oh.
Free Devon scan.
Free Devon scan if you stay with her.
That's right.
Oh my God, that's really good. That's really funny. I think I like it that way around better. Yeah. We used to do, like, before this sort of meme thing came out, like when you work in a cafe, like there's often crushes, like, like one of the staff will have a crush on someone or vice versa. People say they have their coffee boyfriend or girlfriend, like someone who makes their coffee in the morning or whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember there was this guy when I was, 19 or something, and I had a bit of a crush on him. He'd come in every morning, but he ordered a hot chocolate, and I was just really just, I couldn't you know,
Yeah.
like I was like, no, because it's to get a coffee. Like, what are you doing? You know,
Could have been worse. You could have ordered a mocha.
Yeah, that would be worse. That would be worse. It's either coffee or like nothing. Don't go mixing the two.
No.
So I'm sorry, I've probably offended all of the hot chocolate drinkers. Or it's fine to have a hot chocolate if you're just having a hot chocolate, like, you know, like that's also a choice. But if you're like not a coffee drinker and your thing in the morning that you're getting is a hot chocolate, and you're like an adult, I'm like, come on, buddy, have a coffee.
If you're rocking up to a cafe at 8:15 in the morning for a hot chocolate, it's a bit strange.
What is your life? Yeah. No. So clearly never happened. So yeah. It's a fun little game.
Yep. Could have been Lucy Chocolate, but not so much anymore. Lucy Lumen. So.
Awesome. Well, this was so much fun as usual, Matt, and I'm excited for the next episode and what you will come up with. You're always coming up with all these funny, creative. You're so much more hip than I am, and with the memes and the
tip to be square. What can I say?
I know. I feel I'm very out of the loop. Wait till Luca gets older and he's at school, and then I'll have all the slang. Yes.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much, Matt. I'll speak to you soon.
Thanks, Lucy Lumen. Goodbye.
Bye.